So, since you are now going to be able to fly internationally, since you do complete your 5 years this year, are your plans in place now to take IndiGo international? And what's the strategy really going to be? Because when we're dealing with international markets, you already have something like an AirAsia, within this sector or this region. What is the positioning really going to be as you take IndiGo international?
I think IndiGo's positioning is going to remain unchanged. I think the product is going to remain unaltered. We are essentially going to fly the capability of the 320 into markets in the region that offer an economic proposition for us to be able to do well. We will, of course, work and take people like AirAsias and the Air Arabias, take them on competitively.
So when do you expect to start flying international, and give me a sense of how aggressively you are going to be targeting the international market, and is it essentially going to be a price battle?
So I'd like to say that IndiGo has never been an aggressive company. We take measured steps in everything that we do. We are ready to fly overseas in August, which is when we turn 5. We already have applied and secured permission from the government of India to fly to certain markets, and I think that includes the Gulf and Thailand and Singapore and probably some of the neighboring countries. I'm not close enough to give you a quick answer, an accurate answer. But we'll make a measured sort of initiative and then see how it all pans out.
Okay, so a measured initiative. Aggressive is not the way that IndiGo goes. But the other issue that everybody's been speculating about for a couple of months now is on whether you are going to tap the markets or not. Is there going to be an IPO or not? I understand you don't really need the money, but there has been a thinking within the group on whether from a brand standpoint it would make sense for you to actually list. Has there been a decision on that front?
No, I mean, a lot of people ask us these questions all the time, and we continue to explore all sorts of options, and options change from one day to the next, and like you said, we don't have a crying need for money in the business, and we'll just do what we think is appropriate for the long term.
So at this point in time, is it safe to say that the IPO has been put on the back burner, or are you still toying with the idea of possibly IPOing?
Shireen, all I would say is that we haven't taken a view on this matter as we speak.
Okay, you haven't taken a view on this matter as we speak. This is the hardest interview I've done in several years, Rahul Bhatia. I'm trying my best to try and get something going here, but let me.
All I can say is I'm sorry.
No, not at all. Let me talk to you about and move away from aviation for just a bit and talk to you about your other businesses. And we just saw the launch of the Koenigsegg in India. Why the decision to bring a car that costs about 12 crore rupees into the Indian market?
We have a small boutique-ish sort of business called InterGlobe General Aviation, or used to be called InterGlobe General Aviation, and the business was missioned to actually sell executive aircraft to high net worth individuals in the country and corporates. And we have worked with Hawker Beechcraft and also Sikorsky selling their helicopters. And there was a view internally that once you have that target audience set up, then it's sort of natural to be able to offer them other products like boats, yachts, fast cars. So really, it's that whole sort of initiative. It's now been rebranded as The Established. That's the name of the company, and it's really positioned towards this relatively fast-growing audience of high net worth individuals in the country.
It doesn't seem to fit with you, Rahul, if I can say that, because you're this low-profile guy. It's very, very hard to get you to talk to the media. I'm struggling through the course of this interview as well, and you seem to like everything that's fast, that's is almost sort of sexy, glamorous, all of that, an antithesis to the kind of image that you have almost.
Correct. So I don't foresee myself flying a private aircraft or owning a fast car, but that should not stop us from being able to sell those wares to people who care to buy them.
And you're confident that there are going to be, because we've seen the luxury car market booming in India. You've got the Ferraris, the Maseratis, the Aston Martins making a go for it here in India. How confident are you about this side of your business?
We think, and just the way we have, we placed a punt on the burgeoning middle class and the young workforce that comes into play every year, and we put that punt by setting up IndiGo, or this joint venture we have with Accor about populating the subcontinent with the IBIS product. I think that in a very similar sort of way, we have great belief in this burgeoning, extremely wealthy sort of population base in India, and that brings a set of requirements and needs, and we feel fairly confident that we'll be able to do well. I mean, we've been selling executive jets like there's no tomorrow over the last couple of years, and we don't see that sort of thing that's abating for a very long while.
Mm-hmm. Hospitality as well. Is 2011 going to be a big year in terms of the kind of investments that you're going to make within that space as part of your business?
We have been making fairly large investments in that area since 2004. The world hasn't seen it because it takes time to acquire land and build properties on them and then open them up for sale. But I think that we will, we've already opened some properties, we'll open some more this year. But more importantly, we think that by 2015, which is just over 4 years away, we think that we will build a portfolio of hotels which will be amongst the largest in the country.
And we're talking hotels, right? Because you've got a bunch of restaurants as well. So we're talking specifically about hotels, and what you're outlining
That's
for 2015 is. So can you give me a sense of the kind of hotel rooms that you expect to add by 2015?
So the current projection is that by 2015 we would have about 90 properties, which would translate to 17,000 rooms between owned properties and managed properties, and all of this is in partnership with this French hotel major called Accor.
Okay. The InterGlobe story is closely entwined with the way that India changed post the liberalization and the reform process. InterGlobe, I understand, was founded in the late 1991, and that's really when the India story, in a sense, changed and the reform agenda got moving. How have things changed for you, over the past 3 decades in that sense?
So, Shireen, a lot of people ask me this question, and I truly believe that our sort of journey has been a sort of a mix of common sense, a little bit of risk taking, a little bit of timing, and most importantly, just destiny. So these things have come together to where we are today and where we hope to be going forward.
How concerned are you about the state of the aviation business in India at this point in time? Because while you delivered on profits and so did Spice, the other two big boys have been facing a tough environment, and as we see crude prices continuing to surge, things continue to look rather challenging in terms of the external environment. How concerned are you about the state of the business?
We are really only concerned about what we do, and we kind of just keep our heads down and keep implementing what we are meant to, and for the rest, they have a business to run, and I'm sure they constantly look at what they have to do to put bread on the table.
There's been a lot of talk about consolidation within the Indian aviation business. There has been no real consolidation. The merger between Jet and Kingfisher, in that sense, didn't really amount to much. Do you believe that this is more a myth than reality, this business of consolidation within the Indian aviation business?
One, of course, we have a very puritanical view about our own business. I think that we would sort of be very reticent about entertaining a merger or an acquisition. And the reason for that is quite simple, and I certainly in the context of India, we have now seen 3 initiatives which have tried to implement a sort of an acquisition or a merger. But even if you look at it globally, Shireen, I think that this sort of initiative actually finally at the end of the day at best ends up being a zero-sum game, and there's example after example after example on a global basis, because the benefits that get demonstrated on a piece of paper of being able to merge or acquire another business, and I'm talking about some of the best run organizations in the world, more often than not get mitigated by the failure to be able to integrate cultures. Two companies come together, they are very disparate cultures, and very often just trying to bring those cultures together just completely dilutes all the benefits that you think the synergies would bring. So finally, when all is said and done, more often than not, it's a negative story. Like I said, at best, it becomes a zero-sum game. And I suppose in some ways we have seen shades of that in the context of India.
Mm-hmm. So what drives you, Rahul Bhatia? At this point in time, you've got a profitable airline business, you're talking big numbers as far as hospitality is concerned, you're doing a bunch of interesting things. What keeps you going? What drives you? What inspires you? What motivates you?
So right now, I'm bored to death, Shireen. I have very little to do. And I constantly, every day, kind of itch to figure out what's next.
So when you get labeled as the Entrepreneur of the Year and you're given out all of these awards as your contribution to the aviation space in India and so on and so forth, how does it make you feel? Are you embarrassed? Are you, do you take it seriously? What does it make you feel?
I'm terribly embarrassed. I mean, I'm sure Sanjeev would not like hearing this thing, but I was falling over myself trying to impress upon him that I certainly don't deserve this recognition, and I really would like to stay away, but he was insistent, so here I am.
So what's with this reticence and this modesty and is this sort of conscious, deliberate? Why the decision to sort of be so reticent and modest about your achievements?
A lot of people ask me this question, Shireen. It's just the way I am. I suppose it's part of my DNA. And I'm most comfortable being with myself.
All right, most comfortable being in your skin. Rahul Bhatia, many thanks for joining us on CNBC TV 18. Congratulations. Thanks. I know it's going to embarrass you if I talk about that award one more time, but thank you very much for joining us, and we wish you the very best of luck.
Thank you. Goodbye.
With that, it's time for us to wrap up this CNBC TV 18 special. We'll see you again. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye and thanks for watching.